Hey, what's going on guys? It is Foxydude here and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. And if you've been living under a rock, kind of like myself really, you will know that F1 22 is very fast approaching, and it has been confirmed by multiple YouTubers that were invited to a private event that classics tracks will be coming to F1 22. So with that bearing in mind, in today's video I'm going to be looking at some classic tracks that I think Codemasters will bring to F1 22. If you haven't enjoyed the video, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. The last thing for me to clarify is this is not a selection of circuits that I personally want to see come into the game. These are tracks that I believe that F1 will indeed put in themselves, Codemasters will actually put in. If you want to see another video where I go ahead and describe the tracks that I personally want to see added to F1 22, then drop a like on the video and I'll see you guys for that next video, hopefully very soon, if you end up enjoying this one. So the first track that I've selected is the Chinese Grand Prix at Shanghai. From what I've heard so far, it has been kind of confirmed that China will not be in F1 22. Of course, China hasn't been on the F1 calendar now since the 2019 Grand Prix, which of course, if you remember, was the 1000th edition of the Formula 1 Grand Prix. Now, this track apparently is not coming to F1 22. So, of course, with Codemasters building this circuit for F1 2020 and F1 2021, there's a very strong possibility that they'll put this as a track later down the line. Now, is this a track that everybody really wants to see? Not really. However, it is definitely not an awful track. It's quite fun, quite challenging here and there, but considering the fact that they literally built this circuit a year ago, I genuinely don't see why they wouldn't bother just in one of the months after launch just introducing China into the equation. Not everybody's going to be super hyped about it, but at least it's new content and you'll guarantee that there'll be a bunch of people doing races in Grand Prix mode and in online. Of course, if you're also not aware, apparently these classic tracks will not be allowed into the career mode section specifically for licensing purposes, which sucks, but it makes kind of sense really. But yeah, I think Codemasters will add in Shanghai. Coming in next at this selection of tracks that I think Codemasters are going to add into F1 22, I've gone with Vietnam. Now, Vietnam is a very interesting circuit. A lot of people don't actually remember it. Of course, there was a lot of issues with the Vietnamese government, I think, at the time, and there was lots of problems with regards to the circuit organisers, and we never actually got the race itself. But, of course, we did have this circuit built for us for F1 2019, I believe it was. But we never ended up racing there. So I honestly think that considering they built that track not too long ago, I think that they'll probably end up adding Vietnam back in and saying, look, have another opportunity to race at that track. For me, overall, I actually really liked the Vietnam Grand Prix circuit. I thought it was fun. I thought it was challenging. And it's a circuit that I definitely welcome back into the Formula 1 game franchise if they were to introduce it. But it seems like an obvious one, and that's why I'm going to select it. Alright, so the next set of tracks I've gone with is actually a kind of a bit of a variety here, but I've gone with the short circuits. Now, we saw the short circuits back, I think it was F1 2020, and overall, not many people kind of gelled with them. But they were actually quite fun, especially the Bahrain short circuit, for me in particular, I thought was quite fun. But I think at the time, we had Bahrain short. I don't remember if Silverstone had a short. I think the Silverstone short was involved in there. Japan short and also USA short. I think it's quite a clear option here. I think if they were going to introduce new tracks, I think they'd actually probably go ahead and put in all the short circuits as the first, in quotes, DLC for the month. I think because by doing this, it gives them a little bit of extra time to work on the other, main circuits to give them the maintenance that they need. Not necessarily China, but probably the other ones. But I think this would make sense. The only thing that I would do differently on these short circuits compared to when we first had them introduced is that Bahrain, I want the Sakhir layout. I don't know if that's anybody else. I absolutely loved the Sakhir layout that they did for 2020. It obviously was a hectic Grand Prix with Perez getting his first win. I think that layout's actually awesome, and I really want to do the Sakhir layout. So they can have all the short circuits, that's absolutely fine. Just give me Sakhir, please. That layout. You know the one I'm on about. I think it's an awesome layout, and I'd love to see it. So I'm going with the short tracks to enter into the game. Right, next circuit that I have gone with is Hockenheim, that I think Codemasters are going to add to F1 22. Been a long time since we've obviously been to the German Grand Prix. The last time we went there was obviously for Hockenheim back in 2019, and I believe obviously F1 2019 had Hockenheim involved in there. Now, it's quite disappointing that we don't have a German Grand Prix in real life, but again, the reason I picked Hockenheim is because it's fairly recent, and the fact that it was only F1 2019 that it was made, meaning that it doesn't really need major updates for it to go back to, you know, the circuit that we all love to drive. And for me, I think it's a track that would very much be a fan favourite amongst all of them that are there. So that reason, I'm going to be selecting in Hockenheim. Of course, thinking about all the games in development, normally it's about a 2-year development cycle that Codemasters do for these. So they have one part of the team that develops, say, F1 22, and then they've got another little bit of the team that does just F1 23 coming up, and then there's obviously that section in the middle that works on every single title. But if you look at F1 2019, obviously we've had 2020, 2021, meaning that the team that's building 22 would have obviously been developing 2020. So there's still a little bit of leeway for them to just go ahead into 2019 and just get the Hockenheim circuit, build it back up again, and put that as a circuit. So I think they'll put in Hockenheim as the next track. And lastly, I have selected Portimao. Now this is again a little bit of an interesting one, but it's very self-explanatory. This is the same bracket as China. It's on the game last year. It's just a simple port from one build to another and to put it straight in. And I think they will. It's a real shame that we're not racing at Portugal anymore, and it was only due to COVID that we had those two events. I personally adore the circuit itself, and I think that we should be there more often, but it is what it is. But I think Codemasters may potentially, like China, take the sort of cheap way out and go ahead and just put in Portimao because it's a different circuit and, you know, you're guaranteed to have people racing on it because it is literally a roller coaster event of a ride. But there it is, guys. There are the 5 circuits that I believe Codemasters will add into F1 22 during its game cycle. Now, if you guys end up enjoying the video, feel free to drop it a like. If this video hits, let's just say 30 likes, I don't know, I'll go ahead and make another video, but this time putting in the classic tracks that I personally want in F1 22, because these are just tracks that I think Codemasters will add into there. So let me know if you want to see that one, and I will see you guys for my next video very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Take care all. Peace.